How's it going? That's awesome that they're moving that fast. That's really nice.
I'm excited to see that house.
We decided we're going to sell the campers looking at the beach.
All right, it's 7 o'clock. Good evening. Welcome to the April 15th DeSoto City Council meeting. We'll start tonight with roll call, please.
Patterson,
Here.
Bradley.
Here.
Savo,
Here.
Lane.
Here.
All are present today.
All right, I would invite you all to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our first item tonight is a swearing in for our newly appointed council member, Lindsay McCracken. Lindsay, if you would join Edgar, I say Edward, Edgar at the podium.
And if you could raise your right hand. And just repeat after me.
Okay.
I state your name.
I, Lindsay McCracken,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of an appointed city council member for the city of DeSoto, Kansas,
of an appointed city council member for the city of DeSoto, Kansas,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Well, welcome. Thank you for stepping up to serve. All right, our first item on the agenda is our consent agenda. Tonight on the consent agenda, we have item A, approve the minutes from our April 2nd city council meeting. Item B, approve pay ordinance number 1017. Item C, approve maintenance agreement with Thane Holmberg. Item D, approve 5-year lease agreement for a 2026 John Deere backhoe. Item E, approve acceptance of dedication of right-of-way from Sunflower Redevelopment for Stringtown Road. Item F, approve resolution number 2093, authorizing alcohol sales and consumption at Riverfest Park for Rhythm and Roots events. Item G, approve task order with HDR to pursue Safe Streets for All funding. And item H, approve temporary use permits for the Rhythm and Roots concert series. Is there any item anyone would wish to remove from the consent agenda for further discussion? Hearing none, I'd like a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sable,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
Bradley.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item 2 is called to public. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to comment about any matter relating to city business not listed on tonight's agenda. The comments that are discussed under call to public may or may not be acted on by the council during this meeting. There is a 4-minute time limit. If you wish to address the council, please stand and be recognized. All right, I'm not seeing any takers. Item 3 is old business. We don't have any, so we will go to item 4A, receive update from Johnson County Sheriff's Office, and I think we had a mix-up with the sheriff on our meeting night, so
Yeah, I don't see him here, so I'm wondering if we mixed up the date.
I guess I'd ask for a motion to table this to an upcoming meeting.
I'll move that we table the presentation and update from the Johnson County Sheriff's Office. To the next meeting? The next meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Sorry, Zach, I might not have given you enough time to say aye.
Aye.
I'm going to slow down on my before to allow for the lag. All right, item B, receive economic incentive presentation from DeSoto Storage LLC.
Yes, council. Here tonight representing the project is Dustin Baker. We did receive, and Patrick distributed to you by email earlier, a revised application submittal. That's a little bit of some revised information in there that's included in the online packet as well. Our incentives policy, the procedures includes, really the first step is a presentation by the applicant to the city council of the general nature of the project and the general nature of the improvements, the incentives that he'll be asking of the council. And that takes place really before any vetting or any negotiations or really any back and forth are done in preparation for any formal action from the council at a later date. So tonight is that initial presentation, and there's no action required, but I think any council direction or indications that you want to give the staff as we proceed through the process would be welcome. It'd help us in the negotiations back and forth. So, Mayor, with your permission, I'll invite Dustin to certainly come up and present the project.
Well, thank you. Again, Dustin Baker with Alcove Development, also representing DeSoto Storage LLC, the applicant and the current owner of the property in question. So give you a little backstory about this property, the history behind it. So when we were contemplating the development of residents at Lexington, the current site plan that was approved did not require, we had 2 exits for residents at Lexington, one off of 90th Street and then one off of, I think it's 90th Street Terrace, which is the townhomes to the south. And so at that time, the site plan was approved, but we noted that it would sure be nice to have a secondary exit leading to Commerce Drive to the east for the residents of the apartment complex to alleviate some of the traffic coming onto Lexington Avenue during school time and just have a secondary exit. The problem was I did not own the ground to the east. It was owned by another individual, and this individual wasn't willing to sell the property to me at that time. I have since negotiated a purchase of the lot, at least a 3-acre lot just directly to the east of the apartments, in order to try to put the road in. Problem is, number one, I had to severely overpay for the ground to entice the individual to sell me the ground. And then number two, without some sort of project contemplated on the 3-acre site, I really couldn't afford to put in the road. So I went ahead and purchased the property, really with not knowing what I was going to do with it. And I kind of thought, what is really a need for DeSoto? And it just dawned on me that really a need for DeSoto is an assisted living facility and a memory care facility for our residents. We don't have one. And I just thought, well, that would be a good use. And it just so happens that I have experience with an operator that does that handles that service. It's a company called Midwest Health, and they're out of Topeka. That's their headquarters, but they own and operate over 100 facilities throughout the Midwest, primarily in Kansas, but they also have facilities in Missouri, Oklahoma, Nebraska. My experience with this company dates back to 2018, and I developed and owned a piece of property in Eudora, just right down the street, or down K-10 highway. Similar concept. I ended up buying the property, developing it, and we developed a 55 unit, 35 assisted living, 20 memory care. That facility was 43,000 square feet, single level. And I built it and leased it back to Midwest Health. And we did that for a period of over 5 years. And then they has since bought the facility from me. I'm currently doing a second facility with them down in Hayesville, Kansas, if you know where Hayesville is, south of Wichita. Similar size facility than the one that we're actually talking about tonight. So what we're planning, if you so are inclined to start the process with the incentives, is a 53 unit, 34,000 square feet assisted living and memory care facility located on the 3-acre lot. And we would also build the road to connect to the residents at Lexington. That project will cost roughly, with the road, about $14.5 million. And it would probably, it'll take us about 18 months to construct. If we, the purpose for the request for the TIF is, a TIF allows me to recoup land cost and infrastructure cost, meaning the road and the parking lot, over the course of, we're requesting 100% TIF for a 20-year period. And the infrastructure cost will be, and the road will be roughly $3 million. We feel like that the road and this type of facility are in desperate need in the community, and we're wanting to fill that need. So the plan is right now for my company to develop the property, construct the property, lease it to Midwest Health. At some point in the future, Midwest Health will buy the facility from me. But usually that's after a 5-year period is what we've done historically in the past. So that's the structure. That's the request. I'm proud to develop in DeSoto. I hopefully have shown a history of developing quality product. And I'm excited about this one because I do feel like it's in desperate need in the community.
All right. Any questions for Dustin?
Dustin, could you share, so 53 units, could you share what the average size is going to be? Are you going to have a mixture of 1 or 2 bedrooms? Or are they all going to be singles?
So the average size is roughly, they'll vary, roughly 300 to 500 square feet. And in the past, we've only done a couple of 2-bedroom units, mostly. So in the memory care, you'll have just usually just a studio. The memory care wing and the assisted living wing are separated by a middle section that'll have both a shared kitchen, and they'll each have their own dining hall. And so in the memory care units, usually you just have a sink and a microwave, and of course a restroom. In the assisted living facility, you'll usually have well, let me back up. In the assisted living, you don't have the microwave. In the assisted living, you'll have a microwave, a sink, and kind of a kitchenette area, and then a bathroom.
All right, thank you. And then also, Dustin, are you able to provide any forward-looking statements about costs for a resident? Because, obviously, DeSoto does lack an assisted living facility, but we also lack affordable senior living. Are you able to share where you think these are going to come in?
I can share. I'll state that right now in our at Midwest Health and Eudora, I think they're on average. It is all private pay. On average, they're like $5,000 a month, roughly, give or take. I can get that information for you. And the nice thing about Midwest Health, though, is they've historically been really good about if on the assisted living front, you have to be able to have functions of a couple of the daily needs, right? You need assistance on a few of the daily needs, but you need to be able to at least support yourself on a couple of the daily needs. If you can't, then that automatically goes to a nursing facility need, and if you're bedridden. And Midwest Health has historically in the past, and if we move further, I'll have a representative of Midwest Health come and speak to this. But they try to keep the residents there for as long as they possibly can. And they have the capability to do that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, question. It's a single-story facility,
That's correct.
and is there some type of, since there's probably no basement, is there going to be some way for these residents to have storm facilities
Mhm.
also?
Yep.
Is that included?
Yeah, that's a great question, Danny. We in Eudora and in Hayesville, we have we took the laundry facility and we did poured walls and a concrete lid over it, and it was actually in Eudora, it's actually a FEMA rated storm safe room. And that would be the plan here too.
Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, Mayor.
Mhm.
Rhonda, anything?
I was just going to say, I appreciate you thinking about that type of facility here in town, because I do think that is just needed. And at least from my point of view, I would rather provide an incentive to something we need and that that the community will benefit from, definitely, than some other opportunities that might be out there at times. So I think prioritizing something like this is huge. And then I don't know if some point along the road, maybe we can do a tour of the Eudora facility. To
Absolutely.
kind of get an idea of what that looks like. And
Love to do that.
thank you.
Do they have any kind of recreation facility built into these places for the?
Yeah, they have a rehab room on both sides, the assisted and the memory care. They have a walk with, and my plan would be to recreate this, but a little walking path. They have a fenced in area, but then they have a little walking path around the fenced in area. In Eudora, we actually have an atrium. So on the out, in the assisted living part, you have a lot of rooms that back up to the enclosed atrium within the facility that's open to the sky. And so you can go out. They allow gardening. Some of the residents garden in there. So they really focus. This group really focuses on recreation and trying to cater that to the individual too.
Zach, anything before we move on?
Not for Dustin. I was wondering, in the packet item, there is a mention that after the request is discussed by the council, before the Economic Incentives Committee and bring it back to future meeting for action if appropriate. I know I've had some constituents ask me previously who the Economic Incentive Committee consisted of, what organizations were represented there. Is that something staff can answer?
Yeah, I can answer that. So our policy talks about a committee consisting of the administrator, the mayor, the head of the EDC, and the city attorney. There's also avenues for other council members to be involved as well. So that's the makeup of the incentive committee per the current policy.
Then Dustin, I was just, if you can just clarify, so you're not asking for any bonds or financing from the city, it's all private pay. You'll just get reimbursed through the tax increment.
Correct. I will front the money, pay, as you know, a pay as you go TIF. So I will be paying for all the improvements with cash up front, and then looking for the TIF for reimbursement over time.
Okay. All right. I guess I just offer a few, this meets a clear community need with respect to the assisted living. It also meets a stated desire to have a secondary access point to the residents at Lexington, and just supports that continuum of care or lifestyle housing that we kind of miss, here in DeSoto. So certainly supportive of exploring this project further.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good enough?
Yeah, that's plenty of direction.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Item C, consider resolution number 2094, adopting the 5-year capital improvement plan.
Yes, Council. Just a couple of background items on this. Remember, it's been several meetings ago. You gave preliminary approval to essentially the framework of the kind of the 5-year expenditure plan that really was the end result of the CIP. We had you do that kind of on an informal basis so that we could start implementing some of the preliminary steps for some of the 2026 projects. There was some grant funding that we wanted to pursue. So we had you do that a couple meetings ago, but promised to return with the full document and this formal resolution that does adopt the plan. Generally, we usually call these plans 5-year plans, but this one encompasses 6 years because it involves the current budget year. You'll remember this is a process that we spent most of last year doing and into the first parts of this year. Started with staff and council generating kind of wish lists of projects, quantifying what those were. We then took those, divided those into some categories that included mandatory projects, which really we had to do for reasons that they were already partially implemented or we really needed them from an infrastructure standpoint. Mandatory ones. We also had pipeline projects, 3 of them that are large enough and in cost and scope and schedule that they're likely to outlive this version of the CIP, but they'll take years to implement. Those pipeline projects are the 83rd Street corridor, the general transportation improvements enhancement through the 83rd Street corridor, the 95th Street corridor, same, and then the community center project that we're engaged with now. So those were the pipeline projects, and then the last projects were called top priority. And those ones were identified as a result of some public engagement and survey results that occurred over the summer. So once we had the list of projects, and kind of at the same time, we also developed a funding plan that was based largely on our 5-year fiscal projections for fund balances, debt service levels, impacts to mill levies. And we did a bit of analysis on what if scenarios. Came up with a general plan that over the course of the 6 years, be about $8.5 million worth of general obligation debt, plus about $5 million of potential parks bond referendum. Now that would have to be put to a public vote. That's later on in the schedule. And then there's also outside funding source, more than, I think it's $13 million worth of outside funding source pursuits. So things like the build grant that Joe's pursuing currently for the construction of 95th Street, other outside funding sources through the Mid-America Regional Council. So that all culminated in this capital improvements plan. So the document you have in front of you includes just a narrative summary of that whole process that I just gave you the abbreviated version of. The appendices are in there, master project lists, kind of results of some work sessions that we had in the spring with the council, the survey results, some recommendations from the EDC Transportation Committee, just some of the background information. But it really culminates, our working document really kind of occurs in terms of what the projects are in the last section of the document here, where it's a colorized version of here's what the project includes. These projects for 2026, you can see we skipped through, step through 27, 28, 29, the rest of the program. Those are the ones for now that are in the CIP. The timeline for this is important. We wanted to get done with this and formal adoption of this in time to begin the budget for 2027, because in essence, the only thing you really commit to is the budget for 2020. Like now we're kind of committed to the budget for 2026. There's no promises for about 2027. So we wanted to have this done so we could start the budget process for 2027 with this kind of under our belt. So that is the summary, Mayor. I'm happy to answer any questions. The resolution adopting the plan will formally do that, and we can start the budget process probably at the next meeting.
Okay. Questions from council?
I just had a question on next steps from this with actually implementing projects, and timelines and due dates. And if it was in there, I apologize that I might have missed that.
Well, so
for each item,
Yeah, we don't necessarily have a breakdown of like a
Right.
complete schedule breakdown of each project. The bigger projects, notwithstanding the pipeline ones, but the larger ones are generally broken down. And we're going to design this year and build the next year, that sort of thing. What we'll do is we'll develop those timelines for the ones that are under implementation. We have those. They're not articulated in this plan. But the expectations are if it's funded in 27, it's implemented in 27. So that's kind of, so the answer is we don't have that level of detail for each project, I think. But the basic expectation is there, the sequencing of which projects and which years is generally included in the funding sequence, if that makes sense.
Thanks.
Anyone else? I know it's a lot that you have. Zach, anything from you before I give you a chance?
No, I noticed on there the 83rd Street, various projects were included. And there's a lot of line items for that. I was wondering, Mike, if you could just kind of quickly explain what that covers. I was down on somewhere on like page 24 of the PDF, the CIP project list.
Yeah, sure. So the 83rd Street corridor is one of these, the pipeline projects, right? And so the main goal of the pipeline projects is to first pursue clarity on prioritization of what should be happening first when. Secondly, to be able to come up with a framework where we can pursue outside funding sources. Very important for the 83rd Street project. So, and Zach, I don't know if this is the exact page you were asking about, want me to pull up, but I'll just pull the exhibit. Oh boy, I thought this was going to be. I'll get there.
I think it's a few pages above there. But generally, I was just asking to make sure that we had some grades that I think a lot of times when we say the 83rd Street project, that's a pretty broad potential there. I mean, talking all the way from Lexington to the eastern border of the city. It's a long-term project, that widening and everything. There's other stuff going on, the roundabouts and things like that.
Yep.
I guess my biggest concern is, and I looked at it, I want to make sure we have budgeted for design phase of the entire road or
No.
certain sections.
Certainly not. No. So the intent here for 2026, this year, there's $50,000 in for the pursuit of outside funding, but also some preliminary engineering. So get just that next level deeper dive. Remember, we have the 83rd Street corridor that gave a 10,000-foot view of the overall corridor. I had some specific improvements at specific intersections and what road sections should look like in the future. Let's stop short of phasing out an implemented sort of overall plan. And it also articulated that additional detailed study is going to be needed for final design and preliminary design. So the intent for the $50,000 for 2026 is to start that next level down, to start identifying which intersections might be a priority from a safety perspective or from a community investments perspective or what that is. Pursue those outside funding sources and identify, it probably will be an intersection, but maybe it'll be a turn lane, maybe it'll be a traffic enhancement, maybe it'll be a pedestrian. We don't really know, but the 26 will be spent further identifying what the first phase should be. 27, that goes over into 27 as well from that preliminary engineering. So when you talk about preliminary engineering, about $200,000 in 2027, that will really kind of help us focus on, limits of rights of way and specific improvements so we can make specific requests for outside funding and come up with a more detailed plan about what that first thing should be. Now, also in 2027, there's some engineering for one of the intersections there. That's relatively speculative. It's, happens to be here at Penner and Lexington. Maybe that occurs. Maybe it's Kill Creek and 83rd. Maybe it's some other intersection. Maybe it's a pedestrian improvement somewhere. That's a decision we can manage, throughout 2026 if we need to change plan, need to change that location based on what happens with the preliminary engineering. But the other lines are just kind of some, and you'll see the funding is kind of blank for the other lines, but those are just kind of some preliminary rough sketch ideas about how the project might be phased over time. It's tens of millions of dollars to do the whole thing. We're not going to do it all at one big project, even though that might take 10 years. It's going to have to be a, kind of a strategic surgical implementation of of what needs to happen first, what's the dollar best spent at the right time for that. So Zach, I hope that, I mean, it gets to what you're, I hope that gets to what you're.
Yeah, that answers most of that. And I guess the only remaining question would be, that part of that preliminary design, engineering design, would include evaluation of prioritization of which intersections should be focused on? Or is that something that we decide as a council?
No, that preliminary is very much, and yes, you'll decide it as a council, but it's very much aimed to help you with that decision.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. Any other thoughts from council? Are we ready for a motion to approve resolution 2094?
I move to approve resolution number 2094, adopting a multi-year capital improvement plan, formerly titled DeSoto, Kansas 2026 to 2031.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Sabo,
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay. No executive session, so we will go on to advisory reports. Mike?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Patrick?
Just the memo that I distributed tonight pertains to a new law on streamlining residential developments, and it goes into effect on July 1. We'll probably need to amend some of our code provisions to be in compliance, so we'll bring those back before July 1. Happy to answer any other questions.
So would this go through planning commission then to look at those, or?
Well, mostly
Or
we're
they
probably
just
the
code
building
right?
code.
Okay.
Yeah, we have local regulations that, so it may be some of our planning, site plan, but also some of the provisions for the building code.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, any questions for the city attorney on that? Zach, did you send one to Zach?
I haven't, but I will, Zach.
Okay.
As soon as the meeting's over, I'll send it to you.
City planner, no, city engineer, Joe?
Really, the only update is Clarkson will start construction on the next phase of Ashford Parkway Monday. And they should be done down to 111th Street by October of this year.
Okay. Brandon?
A couple of things. Tomorrow, we have our hometown town hall for the community center master plan. That's gonna be downstairs in the senior center. The event's set up as a build your own community center event. So participants will receive not only an update on the project, but will also be asked to prioritize the kind of typical amenities you see in a community center based on other topics. Following that, we'll wrap up phase 1 of the master plan process. The master plan, in that process, will be reviewing the results of the survey that just closed a few weeks ago, the focus groups and input from the steering committee. We're tentatively scheduled to present that report to you at our next city council meeting. Then another update is it's gonna be hard to tell with all the rain, but work has begun at the Riverfest soccer field project. They're starting to move dirt and mobilize. So that project will continue through the summer and early fall with a completion date end of October, early November. And then finally, the property tax relief program starts on Wednesday. So if the last 2 years have been any indication, it'll be a busy start to the program. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
What have we gotten participation-wise the last couple of years in our relief program in terms of just numbers of people?
Yeah, so our first year we had about 55, and we had about $400 left over at the end of the year. In 2025, which was the second year of the program, because we dropped the mill levy, we had about 65 applications that were approved. And I think we spent all of the money,
Good.
so the full $25,000.
So roughly 100 people we've
Yeah.
provided over the 2 years we've.
Yeah, a little over, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you, Brandon.
I have a question for Brandon.
Sure.
So for the event tomorrow, is that a come in and out event, like, or is it a scheduled, this is the presentation, then we'll do an activity for this amount of time? So people are free to come and go, or how is that gonna work?
So at the beginning we'll have a presentation, but the majority of it is going to be kind of a sit-down event. What you're going to get is you're going to get a place card, and you're going to be able to basically spend $100 to put together your community center. So it's not really a come and go event. It's really a sit down and stay for the time frame.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on then to council comments. Zach, I'll let you carry on if you have anything for the group tonight.
Nothing in particular except for one thing I wanted to do last council meeting was to recognize that I received some praise from the Kansas Division of Emergency Management, they were complimenting our new emergency manager, Mr. Danny, and said he's doing a great job. So I want to pass that on and make sure that's for the public record, that he apparently isn't impressing other emergency management professionals in the state and the local area. And so I just wanted to make sure that I acknowledge that. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Joe?
I'd like to welcome Councilwoman McCracken.
Thank you.
Thank you for stepping up for your community, and it's great to have your family in attendance as well. That's all I have this evening, Mayor.
Thank you. Rhonda?
Yes, I'd like to also welcome Lindsay to the group. And then I also would like to thank Joe for working with the Hothan family. They had brought up some issues with their curbing on the streets and so forth that had been ongoing. And the result is Joe definitely talked to them again, and they said that he was great to work with. So I just want to thank you, Joe, for getting on that right away.
Danny?
I'd also like to welcome Councilwoman McCracken and her family, and thank her for her commitment to the city, and thank you very much.
All right.
That's all I have.
All right.
Yes, thank you. I'm excited to be here and excited to serve the community and continue learning. And thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Well, yeah, just keep it going. Welcome. Very happy to have you here, that we've got a full body again. Thanks for bringing an audience. Appreciate that as well. But I guess a reminder about the pancake
Oh, yeah. What do you
hometown
There we go.
cakes and conversation, April 24th. So come.
Okay.
We don't have to cook pancakes or serve pancakes. We just have to be there to
And it's
converse.
down in the community center.
That will be
right?
down in the community center. So 25th, yeah, it is the 20th, yeah, Saturday,
25th, yeah,
25th.
sorry.
See, I'm off a day because this meeting is
Yeah.
Wednesday instead of a Thursday, so my whole month is messed up now. But I don't have anything else, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move we adjourn.
Second? All right, we have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, we are adjourned.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I'll reach out. I'll give you an email tomorrow. Onboarding stuff is just kind of a lot, so carve out. Whatever, we can do.
Sometimes it's.
Not the average height. No, the average age. Pancakes.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you, Danny.
Yeah, that was the eye.
I will.
I said I'd do whatever we needed to do. We will be in discussion.